This is a seam ripper. It is used for undoing stitching mistakes, repairing torn seams, and removing basting stitches. But one has to be very careful when you're using the seam ripper. You have to go very gently and slowly while using this. Otherwise, it might damage your material. The fabric might get damaged. So, how to use it? 90% of the time, I've seen people, because the pointed part is here generally, okay, people insert the ripper like this and try to, use it. But this is not the right way to use it. The moment you're using the pointed section like this, right, even if it is to pick the seam and then pull it out, there are high chances of this getting pricked into the fabric and damaging the fabric. The right way of using it is this whole point, what you see, has to be down. And then you go up like this and you remove the seam. See. So the main purpose here is not to break through the seam, but yes, you can pick the seam like this with the pearl head and pull it out. Okay. Also, the other trick while using it is that with your hands, you try to pull the fabric a little gently apart so that it becomes easier for the seam ripper to this and get it out. See. Also, one needs to be very gentle when the seams are reinforced. Reinforced in the sense, can you see over here, the seam is locked. Okay. So when the seam is locked, always use the pointed part of the ripper. Okay. And try and pull the thread like this and cut it up front so that you loosen up the seam over here. Here, if I go to it like this or like this, right, and try to rip out the seam, it might not happen and it might damage the fabric. So you have to gently pick up the thread up this way and cut it off. This will help in loosening up the seam and it will become easier for you to work further. See. So once the seam is opened up here, then it becomes easy for us to work. See. See here now it is reinforced, right? So I will pick up the seam like this and I will use it this way. See, gently I will pick up the seam and I will pull it out like this. Once this is done, then the further use becomes easier. See. And always while using the seam ripper, please use your hands also so as to see to it that you're spreading the fabric with your hands like this. See the way I'm holding the fabric, okay? I pull it apart and then I hold it with my 2 fingers and give space for the ripper. You just can't go on using it like this, tuck, 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 tuck. It might spoil the fabric somewhere or the other if you be too hard on it and try to be too fast with it. So you have to be a little slow and gentle while using the seam ripper. See. This is the best tool for beginners because 90% of the time when you stitch something, either the seam line has gone crooked or it is not in where it is supposed to be. So at that time, to rip out the seam, this becomes an easier tool to use. But yes, using it in the right way will help you and not damage your fabric. So I hope this information is useful for you and see you soon.